Hope you're all well. Still busy. Also, I'm preparing for next year. We have central news here in the Midlands, and they put good-looking weather girls on. So if they make a cock up, you don't cuss them so much. If central news where weather ain't no good, then I'll turn it over for BBC. See if the weather's any better on there. That's when you know I'm losing it. Right, I had about 12 onions good to seed this year. I know 2 lads who on site who've also had onions good to seed, and they binned them. Use them. I'm just using the last ones now. Composting. Nettles, the first lot finished, and there's a new growth of nettles coming on. Cut them off before they're good to seed. Full of nitrogen. Same as comfrey, forget that as well. Just chop them up. The smaller the ingredients, the quicker the breakdown process. Also now it is ideal for collecting leaves up, start collecting them. Any leaf, as long as it's not evergreen, smaller the leaf the better, exactly the same again. If it's been raining the night before, even better. Another load of rabbit muck dropped off on site. Luckily you get 3 loads off him. Garlic, sent out about 8 lots of garlic in the post and to my mates, and I got 1 lot left if anybody wants them. I did have a mate in Manila who wanted some, but running out of crates. So I back down ours Owen, back of the veg shop where they throw all their rubbish in the skip. So I'll just leg it inside the skip and get me some crates out. Perfect. So now I've got extra crates for top of the tunnel, top of the garden, also for down on the plot as well. Flowered gladies, these are drying off well. These are now ready to come out. The ones on the left, last year's cormorants. The ones on the right, this year's cormorants. So I had flowers on these, so that'll be a good size for next year. Empty the pot out, open them up, and wait for these to dry off, and then I'll cover them. Because it's inside, no rain will get onto them, but air movement around them, help them dry them out. Once they are dried out, then I'll get the rest of the soil, roots and tops off. I'll trim them. Just about make them out in the top of the lawn, but during the week the missus saw somewhat disturbed something, and it was a sparrowhawk who just legged it into the trellis at the top and dragged out a sparrow. He's on YouTube and all, have a nose. I've stopped watering my chilli now, my Armageddon, because I need to clean the greenhouse up. Shed open, ready for a delivery, waiting for him. I don't sit on my Harris, so I clean the pathway. He's dropped 1 load off, he's got another load to drop off 2 days time. Because of our loopy weather, everything's still growing. Black-eyed Susie is still growing through a trellis. And it's, weather don't know what's happening anyway, do they? Alstroemeria, when they've died off, pull them out from the bottom and you get more. The new growth is still coming out the bottom. Gladies, when they're ready, there ain't many like that now. He's out of the tunnel, one of the last ones out of the tunnel. A talk I did here. This is my Zoom talk I did to a gardening club in Brum. They enjoyed it, and it's always good to get a bit of feedback as we have on here. But them are going down well. Luckily I saw this by accident on Netflix. I like true stories anyway, but didn't even know that we, i.e. Commonwealth, Australia and New Zealand, were involved with the Vietnam War. This was in '66 when I joined the mob. Didn't even know about it. So if you get a chance, have a nose. I enjoyed that. We had horse manure dropped off in a skip. That's nearly gone now, but I need some more. So I scraped up what was underneath because it was still moist and it's still got worms in. All my rubbish is taken off from the rhubarb, and that is top dressed. Look after him. Earthworm Society of Britain have uploaded my talk I did to them on YouTube as well. So I'm getting more hits on that. And this chap put on obviously French, couldn't understand the bloody word. He's asked if I put French subtitles. But if I knew how to do it, I would. Right, empty compost bin. So first thing, I put a foot of straw in the bottom, so when the stuff breaks down, the worms don't drop through the chicken wire. Then I'm putting in my leaf mould, my rabbit muck. There's chopped dried goat muck. Obviously every layering I put on, I'm going to water it. And I'll keep doing that till I fill the bin up. Spent tops as well, another natural product that's going to break down. Water it, getting slowly there. But they're all natural products. Well, they are free. Once it's filled up, then I press it down a bit. It's going to break down anyway, because it drops as it breaks down. This is where you compost as well. Fish and tackle shop, get a dollop of worms for $3.50 just to help them out. I don't put any in, but just in case you want it quicker. Carpet on top, I water that as well. Edge it in around the outsides, then put another carpet on top of that. Water it, then put the lid on. So we'll have a pair of him later on. Still some gladies on my plot. Look at him, he's beautiful one. Another odd one. So I'm going to keep the cormlets off him as well. There's only one gladi in this raised bed here, but I want to see what colour he is, so I'll put the cover on first. Right, there's my bin in the middle where I've just filled in, so now I've got to protect him before we get a first frost. Carpet goes round first, and then the black plastic to absorb the heat and sun if we get any. Apples are still coming, so I'm still yomping them. Somebody mentioned earlier on Facebook, one of the groups, what's the use of spent tops? It don't do nothing. Yes, it does. I've only gone down an inch in the bottom and it's full of worms. That's a product. If you get worms, I'm telling you, it's good. Taking the tops off me gladies and drying out nicely. Once they are dried out, I wait till they're dried out a bit more before I take the stems off. And the little cormlets. There's a slug, but it's a sea slug, not a slug you'll get on the garden. Look at him, look at the colours on him. Nature, I love it. Late blackberry, still picking, and he's still throwing flowers. Weird. There's my second delivery coming with my compost. 6 litre compost. We've lost a couple of customers by not being able to lift the compost out of the boot when they get it back home. Obviously we put it in for them. But these now, don't forget, a majority of our members are pensioners, so 60 litre, ideal. Delphiniums, these are going loop because of that soft bloody weather. I've started flowering again. There's only one that ain't. But I'm going to get a bit of colour out before the frost jobs them. This is the one that's doing well nearest to the house. But he's a Boston little flower, look at him. Doing well. That was another one. There's 4 altogether. That's the one that's he's flowered twice and it never dormant. Few gladies now. What I've done is thrown them all in the tunnel. There's black-eyed Susie, he's come from outside because he's got a bit of protection. Another nice gladi inside the tunnel. I like these pink ones with my white inners. Done well with them this year, but I don't like them. Separating a few more. Obviously they were dried off, so I've topped and tailed them. And there's a little corm underneath which is this year's, so I've taken him off. So that one will be nice for next year. Ideal size, so I'll get a good size flower out of him. Take the top off and all, and then bung him in the tray. I'll leave one skin on. I don't take all the skins off because that skin is protecting the corm. So the large ones at the front, then we'll give me a flower next year. The little ones at the back. I've got to put a bit of meat on. Right, shallots I've got out of the garage. And the stuff which is still in the garage, I'm checking them as well. These now go up the greenhouse. Cream Perfection, I've labelled everything, so I've got a rough idea. 78 days he took, but that's up on the weather anyway. Once I've dried off, upend them, get them out the pot. You can see the corms underneath from this year. I'll just top them, store them again, same as normal. So I'll do this with the empty peat that I got left out there, that'll go down for me composting. Right, spent mushroom compost. I put on a blog a while back that if you run trading sheds and want some to buy it by the ton, and my mate said he had some and it was crap. I had mine from Cycle, rang them up this morning, and they're still doing it while lockdown, but theirs is good stuff. Still picking, flowering, another drop off with the spent tops. Chiltern Armoury. The ones that are outside now, I put them in the tunnel because I'm flowering. And chilies ready for Shinart. Yeah, them Sunday night. There's me bougainvillea, beautiful. And there's my delphinium now. Look at him, he's a corker until the frost jobs him. A few more gladies opening up in the tunnel. Them outside are being stunted. Obviously, got to be there. And roses started bloody spurting. It's our loopy weather. Bit of timber rotted on one of my raised beds, so I thought I got to job him. So I sorted that out. I had a length of timber delivered for 10 quid. Good lad. So everything was thrown out the greenhouse. Wait for the dry, windless day to do that repair. So in the meantime, I'm going to J's fluid be inside of the greenhouse, sterilise it. So I'll get everything out, got the covers off my beds, soft broom, and get it a good scrub down, and then washed it down with a water after. If my beds got any disease in, then I'll give them a good J's fluid as well. But my beds is okay, so all I'm going to do is top dress. My own garden compost, spent mushroom compost, worm casts, and once them are put on, then I will just hand fork it over. Don't forget I'm only going down about 3 inches, so no disturbance to the stuff that's underneath. Then we'll have a good soaking, and I mean a good soaking, and then a covering, which I've done there. Now my boards, which are stored in the shed, them come down, so I'll put my bottom boards on first, then my top boards, and then I'll get the capillary matting out and put that on there. Right, now I can start using that. Need some leeks up for my mate, Ange, college missus. Get her some leeks and some sprouts up. And there's my curly kale. I had them as plugs from Lidl a while back. Spent coffee grounds from Tesco, so if I've got any beds that are open or you're not covered, I'll top dress them with spent coffee grounds. Sprouts are doing well. So I'm still feeding, and I've took the top off, get a good bit of meat on them. Just look after them, they'll look after you like any plant. So I picked enough for us and for Ange. Right, allium leaf miner, this is a pain in the arse. This is a fly that bores its way into that's a mine, it mines its way into the leaf, lays an egg, and there's the little maggot that comes out. He works his way down the plant, and this is active end of March, April, then end of September, October. A little fly that come from eastern Russia about 18 years ago. When it gets down to the bottom, it turns into a chrysalis. That is the fly for next year, meaning you've got to get rid of them. So these are mussel butter plants from Wilco, the seed. But because I got a good brew under them, i.e. manure, I've had a good brew on top. Meaning I've skinned all the crap off, so I've still got a decent sized leek to eat. Strawberry wine. First of all, I tasted him, because if he was crap, you'd go straight down the sink, but he was alright. But he needs a Camden tablet crushed, mixed into it. Obviously rack it off first, away from the dregs. Mix it up, and you store him for 2 weeks. We'll come back to him later on. Clover compost. I've got to start potting up my shallots. Vermiculite, I mix that with everything still, and so I'll buy a full bag from our training sheds. There's also fertilisers loose as well, but they can buy full bags if they want them. Plastic drinking cups for me, pickling shallots, 15 tray insert, lined with paper underneath, 15 tray insert on top of that. So there's me pickling shallots done, and me exhibition shallots ready next to them. They will go into these, which I've done now. These are my own shallots from last year. Got some a bit blurred, but I've got some decent ones. It is a corker. Probably nearly 3 or some. But most of them I got the fly again, so I've had to bin them and start from scratch. And them was binned. The allium leaf mine is a pain in the arse. You can get rid of it, but you've got to spray with baddies. I try not to use them. These now are in the cold end of the greenhouse, so you can get away with just in the cold greenhouse. There's another nice one that's opened up in the tunnel. He's a corker and all, a beauty. He's a one-off. Prims, that's the smallest gladioli get. If anybody wants any cormlets off these, I fell in love with these. Of singular beauty, that's a beautiful one. That's another white one. If anyone wants any cormlets, just get in touch with us. That was a good purplum. Anybody seen me blogs this year? That purple was a corker. And that's my pink one. I've got a few off him as well, so if anybody wants any of them. Obviously it's going to take you 3 years to get a decent sized flower. That's why most people don't do it. Right, everything is now put in the tunnel. I forgot about this little chap in here. This is my Bougainvillea, which I planted in a pot because he's got to be protected during the winter. So I dug him up, and there's 3 of them now in there. You can see he's come back to flower because he's a bit of warmth. Right, my next Zoom talk. This is this Saturday. I've done 2 Zoom talks, and I was going to pay this original fee, 70 quid. I said it's only 50. It was 70 with fuel, as I'm not travelling anywhere. So if anybody wants to talk, Garlic Club Allotment Associations, well, any society, 50 quid. Our youngest is doing me he's a graphic designer, and he's finishing my book off. He's putting that together for us before it goes to Amazon to be published. Going through them because I've got followers all over the world, meaning they'll pay for the postage, not me. So that's going to work out well. Little in sentences, and one of the couple of pages are done. But we said we'd improve the bottom because there's no worms in that soil. So I did a couple of photos myself. So there'll be a different one on each page. But he's updated that as well, which is good. Right, Dilemma on site as I'm chairman, and the owner of this plot runs our club where we have our show. The club has a huge room, which is what we need to get all our stuff in for the show. And there's no more, so I do upset him and sod him off, but then get away with it because of the COVID crap that's on nowadays. First frost, had them 2 days ago, and he ain't jobbed that many flowers, so it weren't a good one. And more info if anybody wants it on YouTube, Facebook, or whatever. Hope you've all enjoyed it. Cheers, troops. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you in a week to 10 days. Ta-ra, bit.